Hello guys and welcome back to Ghost of Aros. You might realize that's not the usual intro because this is not a usual episode of Killing 1000 like you might be used to from this channel. Because today we're gonna be doing a video which has been on my mind and on my storage for quite a while. Today we're gonna be using 10 of each spade to dig up mounds, and afterwards we're gonna be looking at how many mounds we dug up, how much profit we made per spade, and most important of all, if digging up mounds is actually worth your time, or if it's just another waste of time activity for late game players who already finished the rest of the game. At this point, a shout out to Peter Anderson, who, although I already started making the video at that point, recommended me the idea of making a video about digging out mounds, although he said I should dig out 1000 of them, and in the end I did a little bit more than that. So some of you might be asking yourself, what's a spade? What's a mound? How do I dig it up? Well, mounds are those little holes in the desert in which sometimes from trash to treasure everything can be buried. And spades are those little items you get dropped from enemies up to high-level bosses in a variety of forms. They go from the Iron Spade over the Crimsteel Spade, the Mythan Spade, the Golemite Spade, and even the Ancient Spade. Although some people on the Discord server would let you to believe otherwise. So how do you dig up a mound? It's pretty easy. You walk over it and you interact with your spade. Back in the day you actually had to go in the inventory, click on the item, and then click on the dig button. Now you just have to have it equipped with the hotbar and click on the hotbar item when you go over the mound. Open mounds look like this, closed ones look like this, and you can only dig up stuff in a closed mount, otherwise it will display this red message. If you go over a mount and you actually find something in there, you get a green message. Sometimes you get a white one if the mount was just empty because, haha, fuck you. But if you actually get a green message, you can get item from inside the mount, which can vary anywhere from worse items like spider silk or sandworms, up to actually really good and expensive items like gems or keys, gold nuggets, which can be crafted into gold bars. They are quite expensive nowadays. So let's get to it, shall we? We're gonna be starting this video with the humble Iron Spade. It can be crafted at the anvil with 3 iron bars, 1 birch log, and level 10 in smithing. But the easier way to get it is probably to farm ruby or sapphire scarabs. Or alternatively, you can just buy it on the player market for approximately 10k a piece. Since it is the first spade in the game, your expectations shouldn't be too high, and it honestly delivered what it was supposed to. It's a starting item, and as a starting item it's at least somewhat solid. In the end we got a total of around 75k profit per spade, which is decent for an item only costing 10k, but the endurance was kinda horrible. But despite lacks in endurance, the item still delivered, and we have a solid start with 75,000 profit per spade. And with that, let's just get to the next spade on the list, the Crimsteel Spade. Much in the same fashion as the Iron Spade, it can be easily crafted on the anvil for the low price of 3 Crimsteel bars and 1 willow log. For those of you out there looking to farm this item, it is also dropped by the Ancient Bat, the Aros Scarab, the Ice Raptor, as well as the Ice Fiend. And for those of you looking to buy it on the player market, it is actually around the same price as the Iron Spade, at around 10k a piece. So without any further ado, let's just get to the results. And surprisingly, the endurance of the Crimsteel Spade was even worse, with only 6 mounds a piece on average. Despite the even worse endurance, and in large part due to the gold nugget being added to the possible drop table, the Crimsteel Spade actually performed better than its iron counterpart. And so, even though the endurance of the Crimsteel Spade definitely let us down, there's already a clear upwards trend visible. And to continue that trend, we're gonna move on to the next spade, the Mythan Spade. In much a similar fashion to its predecessors, the Iron and the Crimsteel Spade, it can be crafted at the anvil, though this time costing us 5 methane bars and 1 chestnut log. It also requires level 45 in smithing, but looking at the prices of methane bars, you definitely don't want to craft these spades just to use them. You'd much rather farm them from enemies. To get Mythan Spades, you need to kill either baby dragons, which are one of the toughest mobs in the game, or besides that you can also get it dropped by bosses, to be exact the Ice Demon, the Golem, Umbra and Mummy, which all 4 are really not that easy, to say the least. But good news for you, there are many players out there who farmed those bosses for the last few years, so there are more than enough of those spades out there to buy for you. That's why the market price is only around 50k each. So let's just get to the profits they made us, and let's look at the endurance, because it's much better than in the last two. In total, those Mythan Spades lasted me around 12 digs in average, which is exactly twice as much as the Crimsteel Spades. And also money-wise, they topped everything that came before them, by generating more than 250,000 golds in profit per spade, to be noted. But that is nothing compared to what is about to come. Next, we have the Golemite Spade. The Golemite Spade can't actually be crafted. Although at first glance it seems counterintuitive since it looks a lot like the Rexite, it is Golemite and you can't simply craft. You can only get it dropped. Now, where do you get it dropped? You can get it dropped by the Golem himself, the Golemite bed, or the Golemite field. Or you can also get it from red, green and blue chests, of which you'll be able to open up quite a few. Since, well, let's get to the profits they brought us. And here we get to the loot, and you can see they actually got us a plethora of keys, 33 to be exact. Also, if you're looking to buy a Golemite Spade, it's only around 100k each, so only about twice the price of a Mythan Spade, which is definitely worth it considering. Now let's get to the profits they made us in total. That the Golemite Spades made us almost 7.8 million, or 700,000 gold per spade alone. Their endurance also almost doubled again, since we now have an average of about 25.5 mounds per spade, which is again double of what we had last. So we see a definite upwards trend there. So now let's get to the big boy of this video, the Ancient Spade. They are a bit special in the sense that they can't just be farmed by killing a normal mob, you also can't obtain them from chests. They are only dropped by one boss in the game. You might have guessed it, Mummy. But don't despair, because you can just simply buy them from other players, though they come at a much higher price point than the other spades with 500 to 600,000. They also come at a much higher profit rate than any of the other spades. And now let's get to the profits, and yes, those are real numbers. This is also the reason why the recording of this video took an eternity. The endurance is about the 7-fold of the Golemite Spades, with, and yes, that are the real numbers, almost 200 mounds per spade. And let's get to the profit, the part you've all been waiting for. So, drum roll, in total we made 87.4 million gold just from those 10 Ancient Spades. That is over 8 million profit per spade. So yeah, did I find a secret money-making technique nobody knew before? Maybe not, people knew mounds existed. But god damn it, it is a lot more effective than most people thought. I mean, just take a look at these numbers. I made almost 100 million just by recording this video. Though before you go out there and start just buying Ancient Spades without any repercussions, be reminded that it takes hours for just a few of them to be used up. So yeah, in the end, who would have expected it? The Ancient Spade won, but by a lot larger margin than one might expect. So would I advise for you to go out there and start digging up mounds? It depends. If you're higher level, it might be actually more efficient to farm higher tier mobs because, well, they just give you around the same amount of money plus a lot of experience. But especially if you're a lower level, which you can barely kill some of the monsters in the game, I would definitely advise you to just get yourself a handful of Ancient Spades and start digging. Because the profits you get from this is far beyond anything I would have expected at the start of the video. So as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment with video ideas, although I might not do that many Curse of Aros videos in the future.